Hi, church family. Pastor Dan here with Pastor Dell as well. Today, talking about, well, maybe what we're missing out on when we're in lockdown, what we think we're missing out on, and how everything that we experience during this time can start to be through the lens of limitation, through the difficulties that we're experiencing, or the questions that we don't have answered yet, and how that can start to rob our souls of joy. And what we want to say to you today is that even though you're locked down, you're not locked out from the joy and beauty and all the good things that God has made possible for you to see and behold and be excited about. So Dell, maybe you could help us kind of frame this issue out a little bit. Why is it that it's hard for us to see beauty during this time?
Well, lockdown can become a lens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're just preoccupied with all the things you're missing out on, or the things that are different than the way they used to be, or the questions about when or if things will ever get back to normal. And, you know, when you're looking at the world through that lens, through the lens of lockdown, you know, it's depressing and anxiety provoking, and that can spiral. So you got to find a way out. Like, so what's the way out of the lockdown mentality so that you can also see the opportunities and the beauty that's all around you?
Yeah, so one of the key words that I've noticed that you use a lot when you're communicating about the gospel and about life is the word beauty. That maybe in the modern world, like, we've left that behind, or we've let that be defined by other things, when really it's God has created the world, so not just with beauty, but He's created us to appreciate and enjoy and experience beauty in all sorts of contexts. And so sometimes it's just a matter of being really intentional about finding that, about seeing that, it really is all around us. So if we were giving a person maybe a prescription, like the first thing that they need to do to go out and behold the beauty around them, how could they best do that?
Yeah, I think the modern word, Dan, that we use instead of beauty is happiness. And I want to be happy too, like, don't get me wrong, but happiness is a little bit more of a feeling that's dependent on our circumstances. So then when you hit a thing like lockdown, it feels like your happiness went with it. You got locked down as well. The concept of beauty is a little bit, it's deeper. So it's the idea that God has placed a bit of his own self, his own image, his own magnificence, all in the world that we've made. It's all around us. Like, so for example, just look outside and lift up your eyes, you know, to the hills or to the sky or to the creation all around, and you realize that even in the middle of the suffering of any circumstance, there's echoes of all this joy and beauty all around us for those with eyes to see. And Jesus was constantly talking about eyes to see, ears to hear, you know, that kind of thing. So we train our senses to behold and the beauty even in the middle of our pain, and that takes some intentionality and practice. So the first thing I think that we can do is when we're suffering or when we're down, we have to take advantage of the beauty that's already there. So we need to put ourselves in the path of beauty. It's the first thing. And, you know, that can be as simple as pulling out artwork or music, you know, or other you know, going on walks, other things that help us to get out of the confines of our perspective and to see the things that are shining and glorious, you know, all around us. And as we notice them, pay attention, recognize them, acknowledge and name them, it helps us not feel as locked out from joy.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we started a Facebook group about 2 weeks ago now, called Joyful Things I Can See Right Now, that I hope everybody who's watching this video that you sign up for that, because that's where just different people from the church family can see a joyful thing, something that sparks joy in their own heart, and post that, and then we all get to sort of share that joy with them. And it's really fun to scroll through that group and just see pictures of everything from a bird that visited a bird feeder to a family picture of something really cute happening with some kids, to somebody I think today posted a picture of a coffee and a donut from Revived Coffee, just say they were sparked with joy because this is all available again, you know. And thinking sometimes it is just we don't just necessarily have to experience this joy for ourselves. Like, sometimes there's more joy when we share it with others, or when we even create joyful experiences that other people can enter into.
Yeah, I love that, Dan, because that's really the second way to get out of the lockout from beauty and joy is to share beauty. So when someone else shows you something that they find beautiful, or you can share that with someone else, something that you found beautiful, it deepens the experience, not only for the person who shares, but for the person who receives. So we can literally cultivate the experience of beauty and joy together in community, and we need to. So I love that we're doing that. But I think the third thing is that we can actually create some beauty ourselves. And you say, well, I'm not a sculptor or an artist. Some of you are, so that would give you your outlet. You know, my wife does a lot of that kind of thing, and it's really fun to watch, and it's a joy to her. But you know, for people who are not gifted in that way, I think it's interesting that there's been like these huge bake-offs, you know, during lockdown, because I think people are tapping into the exhilaration of creating something with their own hands, even if it's a batch of cookies or something, you know, because the intrinsic, you know, process of just making something beautiful and good, you know, enlivens the heart. But we can tap into that in thousands of small ways, because all of us were made to be creative. We were made to create value. And when we engage in that part of our design, even in the midst of our, you know, pain or depression, it lifts our hearts. Yeah. So I think two to three things a day where we actually intentionally decide to create beauty would do a lot to get us locked in versus locked out during lockdown.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I was thinking, you know, in so many ways, the lockdown is not under our personal control. But if we're locked out of beauty, that is something that we have some control over, that we can decide to take our eyes, maybe literally take them off the screen right now and go outside and look at something God's made that's beautiful, or maybe jump over to that group we just talked about and share something that brings joy to you, or look at what brings joy to others, and just make it an intentional pursuit to see beauty, to share beauty, and then wherever possible to create beauty. And that can give us, that can fill our days with maybe a fresh sense of purpose as well, when otherwise we might just kind of linger around and wonder what's next. Hey, this gives us some marching orders to move forward with. So, hey, thanks, Del, for hanging out with us today, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody again soon.